Welcome back to our Mount to Be Clean podcast. For those of you who don't know me, I am your host, Ashley. I own and operate a small cleaning business in the Rocky Mountains of Alberta. And you can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. You can follow us along here on YouTube and Spotify for our podcasts. I'm so grateful to be sharing our stories with you and hopefully can shed some light on our industry and have a lot of laughing along the way. I started this podcast because it's 2026 and cleaners are still facing a stigma that cleaning is easy, shouldn't take long, and costs only $5 a clean. I had no intention of creating this much content, but when people think that we can do a whole ass clean for $280 and I can pay 4 people out of that, I had no choice but to try and educate them and hopefully change the perspective of it. I fully understand that some people won't get it and they don't have the capacity to learn or change their perspective. But for those of us who can, please enjoy this podcast. It's for you. I wanted to have some fun with this content too, so get ready to hear some good stories from the front lines. I want to have more guests from different industries in the community on the podcast, so stay tuned for that and let me know who you want to see on here. I also have no time for fakeness. It's way too time consuming. All what I do is enough already, so you get what you get when you join us. It's the real shit. So this podcast, I go through some Reddit stories, mostly from the Our Housekeeping subreddit, but some from Airbnb as well. We talk about the cleaning good and bad sides of it, the good and bad sides of the clients, and the good and bad sides of the actual cleaners as well. I try to get both perspectives, so leave your shit in the comments if you agree, if you disagree, go ahead and have a argument amongst yourselves in there. I'm an open person who likes having discussions about stuff, even if you completely hate everything that I'm doing and disagree with it all, I'll still read it. Okay, so we're gonna get started. I am filming this and editing it on the day it's supposed to come out, so that's what life is like right now. First Reddit story is from Airbnb hosts, and it says, first 2 guests gave 4-star hygiene ratings. Hello, I am new to hosting on Airbnb. It's a spare bedroom and a shared house with me and the cat. The room is cheap for the island, and I've had 5 confirmed bookings within 2 of them already stayed with me. Both were last-minute bookings due to boat cancellations, so stuck on the island. Both guests gave me 5 stars overall. However, both gave 4-star hygiene ratings. My initial thoughts were 4 stars fine since I cleaned the property myself and I'm certainly not perfect. I also spent 2 hours cleaning before each guest arrived. However, when I look at the other cheap accommodations, they are averaging 4.7 to 5 stars. I'm not charging enough to justify getting cleaners for these 1 to 2 night stays. The first review was positive, another Airbnb host, but said I need to clean the bathroom a bit better, empty the toilet bin before guests arrive, and get a bathroom mat. So I did all those things. The second guest said the only feedback was needing a sign on the door to make it easier to find, which I'll do, and no other mention about cleaning. If my third guest gives me a 4-star hygiene rating, I will average to 4-star overall. Should I be concerned about this? If I got a cleaner in for a deep clean once a month and clean myself between guests, would that be enough to start getting 5 stars? Or do I really need to fork out for a weekly cleaner? The guests staying here opt for probably the cheapest accommodation in the area. And whilst I understand that's no excuse for an unclean property, it seems like the guests are expecting hotel level cleaning quality. The problem is I just don't see it being dirty. You can wipe your fingers over any surface and won't find dust. I clean everything, including the skirting boards. I don't know if I'm not taking it seriously enough or if the first couple guests had higher than usual standards. There is an update I'm going to go over. I'll just read that right now and then we'll go over the comments. Okay, so the update is I've spoken to the guests and they both pointed out the shower as being the main issue. I've been cleaning it regularly, but limescale on the door and grime in the shower door seal. I've spoken to my mother and realized I've not been using the right product to clean the glass and taps. As for the seals, I just hadn't paid any attention to them. I've now used a descaler and scrubbed like crazy on the seals, and the shower is looking pretty much incredible, to be honest. I was also advised the outside of the house needs cleaning more regularly. I'm actually waiting on an inside tap being fitted so I can get pressure washer to wash my car, but I'll also use it to clean the walls, doors, and windows. Until then, I'll take a bucket and sponge to it. Thanks for your comments, guys. So I love this. We'll get into the comments. I love how this person came on here, got some advice, and then used that advice and improved their overall cleanliness of their Airbnb. Airbnb to me is a little bit like, I've done a lot of research on it, and the ratings can be a little bit misleading when it comes to cleanly, like all of them. Most people will give a 5-star rating, host and guest, so that they don't lose their status. They don't want to be a shitty guest, and they don't want to be a shitty host. So take the 5-star rating, take all the ratings with a grain of salt. Most people don't do less because otherwise they don't get pushed in the algorithm for being like the superstar host. In my experience, there's not a very high standard for cleans anyways. So a 5-star clean, I would probably rate most of the Airbnbs I've been in at least 3. Some of the comments are, you don't see it as dirty, but they do. I know exactly what this is about. Yes, you absolutely do need to be hotel level clean. These people are paying for a clean bathroom. I always get 5 stars for clean. Place is spotless. Spotless is what you need, and I do all the cleaning. I'm 72 years old. If you're going to charge people to stay in your home, you must have the room professionally cleaned. It doesn't matter that your rates are low. Cleanliness is a non-negotiable. Repair all chipped and broken surfaces as well, and who doesn't offer guests a bath mat? I get that you do now, but the fact that a guest had to mention it shows a surprising lack of attention to detail. This person, maybe they're a new host, so they didn't know. Different cultures have different standards as well. Who knows what country they're from? Maybe they don't use bath mats there. I agree, it needs to be a hotel level clean. If you are asking people to pay you to stay there, even if it's just one room, the cheapest place. OP says thank you. So the OP went and actually talked and spoke to the guests and then got the feedback from them. And the fact that they went and talked to their mom and they just didn't see what was dirty, like that's most people who aren't professional cleaners won't see what's dirty. My experience with cleaning Airbnbs is, I've had people tell me that they'll only dust once every 6 months, which I don't think is okay. You never know what you're going to find in an Airbnb or where the guests, what they did in there. You have no idea. So whenever we would clean Airbnbs, we would go in, we would clean everything top to bottom. We would dust. There'd barely be any dust on our Swiffer, but we'd still dust every single time. Floors would be vacuumed and mopped. And inside drawers, you have to pull out every single drawer and look at it. You have to look at the dishes to make sure they're clean. I'm sure we've missed stuff for sure. And it's just like, when I very, very first started, I would beds that were made, I would strip them to double check if guests did anything weird in them. Over that time, I didn't really do that, and I pray that never happened, but I was still freaked out. You don't know what people are doing in there. And someone's going to sleep in there, and maybe a guest put something weird in there. Airbnbs are not easy to clean. They are a niche clean that can only happen between 10 and 3 or 10 and 4 usually, because people want that turnover clean. Yeah, so Airbnbs are not easy to clean. They're very, very detailed. People have huge Airbnbs, people have small Airbnbs, and I think it took me, the fastest I did at Airbnb was maybe an hour, 45 minutes. It usually is average at 2 hours, and the longest was 4 hours. It was a huge like 4-bathroom, 5-bedroom house, and you're doing the laundry and you're freaking rushing. You're rushing to get it all done, especially if the guests don't leave on time. Then you're just like, I remember one Airbnb I did. The guests, they asked for an extended stay and the host said no because they had somebody coming, but they ended up leaving 45 minutes late. That Airbnb, I had to skip doing most of the washing the floors. They're like, I was pushing my stuff in the car and I drove down the block and finished packing it so that when the other guests showed up, I'd be out of there. I mopped the main areas, but I didn't mop everything. And it still was clean because I mop every single time. I don't skip mopping. That was our Reddit story number 1. Guys, comment what you think of comment your opinions on Airbnb cleans. If you like them, if you don't like them, what you find works, what you find doesn't work. Story number 2 is from our housekeeping. I love this Reddit subreddit. This one is called Thoughts with This Text Message from a Cleaning Client. And this was like 19 hours ago. So from the client is, hi, we would like to get on a regular cleaning schedule with you, about every 2 weeks. Are you available to come this week? And then can we build the schedule out? Let me know. Cleaner said, hi, unfortunately, I don't have any availability until the first week of June. And then the client replied, really? I have been with you guys since 2022 when you first started. What's going on? Okay, this text message truly pissed me off. I scratched out names for your information. I am truly booked up until June, and I never bite off more than I can chew. I am just taken aback by some people these days and their audacity. LOL. Has anyone ever dealt with this? I've been in business 4 years now and haven't had this happen. I've been taking some deep breaths before I respond. I have never had that happen either. The thing is, I always assume good intent. I always assume the positive thing. So I would have been like, what do you mean? I don't understand what you're saying, before I jump to conclusions. But I love that this person took a deep breath and they're coming here for feedback. A commenter said, asking if someone can come this week, especially when it's Tuesday, and then being offended when they're booked is wild. OP says, absolutely wild. Mind you, I also work a full-time job during the week, and they know this. I also run my business full-time as well. Going on month 2 of not having a day off, so that text just amplified my emotions. So this cleaner is freaking amazing, working their ass off, and they're tired. And then when a client says something dumb like that, you just, take your breath. Oh, damn. Yeah, fuck that. Working full time and doing 40 hours, cleaning on top is a physical load and a half. You don't need clients that underpay you and don't respect you. What do you do for other job? I don't think they answered. Somebody says, sounds like you need to raise your prices. Another commenter says, and I never thought of this, but it could be true. I've been cleaning for a long time. Here's what this message actually means. Mother's Day is this weekend, and I'm probably having a party or guests over, and I want a clean house. But I didn't plan accordingly. So I'm going to bait you by acting like I'm finally ready to commit to a bi-weekly schedule. Once you do what I want, I'm going to cancel or give excuses. And in fact, I didn't plan on committing to a bi-weekly schedule at all. What I'm going to do is contact you the week of July 4th and expect special treatment again. Girl, bye. Congratulations on building your business, by the way. This is a hard and demanding job, but the good clients really do make it worth it. And trust me, there are plenty of them out there. This lady needs to kick rocks and with flip-flops. That's cute. I guess my closest experience to this, I have people who like, I want to clean, I don't want to clean. I want to clean, I don't want to clean. I want to clean, I don't want to clean. I have that too. Or people that cancel all the time or constantly asking about like why my prices are so high. Those ones, I don't rebook them. It's way too much of a headache. And if I explain it once, I'm not going to explain it over and over again just because you're not comfortable with the price or you're not comfortable with the schedule. Just find another cleaner. That's okay. My closest experience to this would be people asking me about cleaning companies in other neighboring towns like Fernie or Pincher Creek or Sparwood, and I will do the research and I'll look it up and I'll be like, this person seems legit, you should go with them. Or I've heard something about this person, you should go with them. And I've had people be like, yeah, we're also going to get clean from you, but like, do you know anyone else that cleans in this town? And then they just ghost me. Guys, like if you ask me for recommendations of other businesses, I'm just going to give it to you. You don't have to go with the clean with me. Like there's plenty of fish to be fried. I do not have a scarcity mindset. I will give you recommendations for other companies, whether it's this industry or other industries. You don't have to pretend that you're going to go with a clean with me. I don't know. Like, I'm way too old to deal with that shit. I would ask, what do you mean? What's going on? I'm getting busy. I guess I'm good. Yeah. Like, what do you mean? What's going on? That is a weird question to ask somebody. And to like threaten them that you've been with them for a long time. This person has probably had other people who have been with them since 2022. It's still really confusing to me, the amount of adults that ghost or do shit like this. Like I could never do that, but yeah, I guess it's how you're raised. I don't know. There's enough information out there that you can Google and watch to help change your perspective on life, even though if you were just given one perspective on childhood. So guys, I'm also practicing what this looks like for me to do solo podcasts, because I need more practice in front of the camera and to become a better communicator. So I might be doing a couple of these a month. And my goal was to do once a month for a year, but I might try to do one guest and then one solo. So let me know what you guys think. If you want other businesses or people from other businesses to come on here, I already have some in mind, in the works of scheduling them. And I also have back my past guests as well, and my staff. They're just the funnest people to do podcasts with. This is Reddit story number 3. How to tell a client I really want to drop her from my client list. This is from our housekeeping 26 days ago. Advice needed. I've cleaned every other week for a woman for about 3 months now. My business is only 4 months old. When I initially gave her an estimate, she refused to pay more than she had paid for cleaning services in the past. And because I was new, I wanted to build a client list. I agreed, even though it's a significant discount. She insists that I use her products, which isn't that big of a deal, except that she follows me around and picks at every little thing. She says my rag is either too dry or too wet when I dust, wants me to move heavy furniture back and forth across the floor, but is nervous about me scratching the floor, and makes me wait for her and any of her 5 cats to be finished eating in a room before I can clean a room. Anyway, I have clients who are willing to pay my normal rate and who want that day that I usually clean for this difficult client. How do I tell her I no longer want to provide cleaning for her? This commenter says, I'm sorry, but I will no longer be able to provide these services at the price we initially agreed to. I wish you luck in your search for a new provider. Next blank will be the last day I can provide service for you. Yes, so I did this too when I first started. There was a building I was cleaning. This is when I was by myself, and I'm like, this is what I charge hourly, and they're like, ooh, no, we can't do that. I needed the clients, I needed the hours. I agreed to a lower price, significantly lower. Like, it did not make sense. Like, I was paying that client to clean their building, especially when I got staff. Then there's like, yeah, it was stupid. I shouldn't have kept them on for as long as I did. I think it's just something you have to go through whenever you're new. And I was a shittier cleaner back then too. I wasn't as efficient. I wasn't as fast. I had the same products. I haven't really changed my products, but I use them better now. So I get it. I get this client. Business is only 4 months old. I get this cleaner. Her business is only 4 months old, but I think if I had a client that was that nitpicky, I wouldn't have said yes to it, or I would have said no for a long time, or I would have said no a lot earlier. I've never had a client follow me around that wasn't my friend and like talking to me and telling me cool stories the whole time. I don't move furniture because we are not a furniture moving company. You 100% can scratch the floors if you move any item at all because you don't know what's under there. Do clients constantly ask me to move furniture? Yes, they do. I always tell them no. We move small furniture. And also, if this furniture is really small but delicate as fuck, I'm not moving that either. I'm going to leave it. If it looks like something's going to fall off of it, I'm going to leave it. It's too big of a liability. Do I move my furniture at my house? Yes, I do. I'll move it all over the floor. Does it wreck my floor? Yes, it does. Do I care as much? No, I don't care that it's wrecking my floor because I want the dust bunnies out from under there. Do I care if I wreck your floor? Yes, because I don't have to pay for that. I'm insured though. Another commenter says, so I kind of want to drop her ASAP. No, OP says, so I kind of want to drop her ASAP. Like, never again. I put up with so much. I'm going to see her at a friend's wedding, and then 2 days later, which would be one day before I usually clean for her, I'm going to tell her I can't clean for her anymore. Yes. Another commenter says, raise her price. She'll drop you instantly, and that's not on you anymore. Especially if she pokes and prods any further into why you're dropping her. Just let her know you've built up more clientele, making more money, and don't have time to fit her into your schedule anymore. Can't be mad at someone for wanting to make more money elsewhere. This is the natural progression of any business. You start out, your costs are low when you start out. As you grow, your costs grow. As you get better, your price goes up. Why do people think that in a 9 to 5, as you get better at your job, you should get promotions and you should get raises? But as a cleaner, if you get better in your job, you can't raise your prices. Every other company raises their prices. So you are allowed to raise your prices as well. And your clients are allowed to be like, no, thank you. I don't want your services anymore. I can't afford it. And then another commenter says, oh, yes, she will. Anyone who follows the cleaning staff and has them working around cats will be a bad mouthing her for years. That can happen too. That, I think, could be one of the reasons why cleaners are so reluctant to get rid of their staff, to get rid of their clients, especially in a small town. If you are just like, dude, like this person, it doesn't work for me anymore. For whatever reason, it's nerve-wracking to have to let go of a client because you don't know what they're going to say or how they're going to take it and what they're going to say to others. But in the end, you literally have to do what's right for you, and the truth comes out eventually. Like, people can badmouth the shit out of you, but if you're a good person, people aren't going to believe it. And the ones who do believe it, when they meet you, they're not going to believe it. Like, the truth will come out. If you're a dick, you're a dick. If you're nice, you're nice. This person says, what if she just turns it into more of an argument or begrudgingly agrees to pay? She sounds like a nightmare. OP is right to drop her with polite but firm language. No arguments, no haggling. That's true. You could tell someone, hey, like, I have to raise my prices. My prices are going to be this if you want to stay with me. And you don't vibe with that client, but they're willing to pay you. It's still not worth it. It's still not worth it, guys. Like, your piece is what is worth it. And like, you're doing them a disservice. If you don't really like them, why are you around them? I don't want people who don't like me around me. It's inauthentic and weird. I have a lot of respect for people who just block me and move on with their lives. Like I said, I've never had a client follow me around and be annoying. I've only had like the coolest clients follow me around and tell me stories. Okay, I'm going to skip to this fun one. This is from our housekeeping. It's 2 days ago. It's called Making It Fun. I am a cleaner and I kind of have fun making kids' beds with stuffies or posing Barbies in the dollhouse. Nothing naughty or weird, just like a fairy doll hugging a Grinch or Barbie sipping tea. I don't know that anyone notices, but it breaks up my day and makes it feel a little bit more fun for me. Does anyone else do things like this? I love this. Let's read what they say first before I comment on it. Commenter, I do this and the kids always notice. Even when I'm running behind, I'll tuck a bear in their bed. I love that. I set one stuffy reading a book to the other stuffies on the bed. Kids love it and even request which stuffy is doing the reading. Next time, can you make the elephant read in the book to the other animals? It's so cute. OP says, I love this. I have 3 houses currently with kids and I always stack the books or put on a bookshelf. Next time, some stuffy will be definitely reading to the rest of the crew. This person says, after a couple of years of me making intricate scenes with these boys' stuffed animals, they had like a Nat Geo Animal Kingdom of stuffies. The dad told me when the youngest was smaller, he thought his toys came alive when he was at school. Melted my cold, dead heart. Then I had to keep doing it, obviously. That's so cute. Used to change a side of a Rubik's Cube to a different color each clean for years. The boy never knew how it changed color. After 10 years, I told him and he was happy to know that he wasn't losing his marbles. After 10 years, like, I freaking love that. I can't wait till I have clients for 10 years. I worked in a hotel. I did this for the adults too. They loved it as much as the kids did. TV, remote, biscuits, book, etc. all added beside the teddy bear in the bed. That's cute. Oh, another commenter says, I'm so happy to hear others do this too. A client's 4-year-old son loved to bring all his dinosaurs in the shower. I'd clean the shower, then set them up in varying war poses. He used to love helping me clean when he was young. Now he's 6 and has become too shy to say more than meow when I say hi to him. Or when he says hi to me. That's cute. I do this sometimes, and I know that my staff does this sometimes. We'll just set the stuffies up in different places. Sometimes we'll tuck them in. One of my favorite things that I did was I had a client with a little girl who loved it when we cleaned because we would find things. So she would just have her toys all over and they'd be in all different places and I would pick them up and like we don't go and clean up that stuff. We'll pick it up and we'll put it on top of things, but we don't go and like, we don't do the tidying, we do the cleaning. So I would find something and I would just put it on the nearest surface that I was at. And she loved it because then when she would come home, she got to find all the stuff that we found. And so I wrote that in her profile. I was like, so-and-so loves to find things, pick them up, put them on whatever surface you're at, and she'll just have a blast. It was the cutest thing ever. She like, you find things like, and I didn't know what she was talking about. And her mom explained it to me. So that leads me into our next one about why we only do the cleaning and not the tidying. That was Reddit story number 4. So we're going on to number 5. So clients with too much stuff, what to do. So in the last story, I talked about how we didn't do the tidying, we just do the cleaning. We will ask you guys to do the daily chores so that when we come in, we can do all the scrubbing and wiping of things and dusting. The more stuff we have to move around, the less clean your house is going to be. There's no way for us to fit it in a day, and we're not that company that does that. There might be other cleaners that do that. So this next one is clients with too much stuff, what to do. Our housekeeping 15 hours ago. Advice needed. I've been cleaning for a family, husband, wife, and 2 girls since October of last year. Originally, I was once a week, then twice a week. Now I've been going 3 times a week pretty steadily for the past 3 months. I like these clients, but cleaning has been becoming more and more difficult with them nonstop purchasing things. They recently became quite successful and gotten into quite a bit of money. Good for them. They all have dressers that are absolutely packed and overflowing with clothes. Same for their closets. I tried to organize everything before and it took about 4 hours, but they refused to do any upkeep in regards to maintaining specific homes for things and buy more clothes and expect me to put them away somewhere. The problem is that there is simply not enough room for anything. When all their clothes are dirty, they go on a shopping spree and buy more. Every closet and dresser will be full. There will be 4 bags of dirty laundry, 2 bags of clean clothes, and 3 bags of clothes straight from the mall. It's gotten so bad that they ran out of space in their walk-in closet and converted the storage room into one too. Not to mention the constant buying of toys and knickknacks for the kids that they don't even play with or use that I can't even begin to find any space for either. Considering dropping this client as I am just so lost on what to do. Do I recommend a professional organizer, or I'm doing poorly here and need to set up and need to step, or am I doing poorly here and need to step up? Cleaning is not the same thing as organizing. I am not a professional organizer. I don't have the heart for it. I probably would be an asshole because I hate clutter and I would just throw all this shit away. I would not be good at it. There are other cleaners and other companies that do that. They can have those clients because that's not for me. So no, you're not doing poorly, and you don't have to step up if it's not a service that you've never provided and don't know how to provide. A commenter says, now you're a part of their disorder. It will never improve. Fill the openings with someone else. So this other commenter says, you're not doing poorly. This sounds like compulsive spending. I don't think it'll get better with a professional organizer. They might literally not comprehend that they have more stuff than can be put away. You can suggest they donate or get rid of old stuff. If they need help with that, then suggest a professional organizer or your own services. If they aren't willing to get rid of anything, there's no point hiring a professional organizer. The way I see it, there are 3 options. Renegotiate your prices or duties if you want to because the job has changed. Gently explain to them that you can't clean if they are spending all of your time tidying, and you can't tidy if there's no space. Reset the expectations and ask them to make a change. You drop them as a client. Number 3, remember that their house is not your responsibility outside of what you originally agreed to do, and don't have to feel guilty. Yes. We definitely have the right to, if things change in the household, we have the right to tell people or to ask them, talk about it. Keep the communication lines open. This is what I originally quoted you, that and all the services I was going to provide for this quote in this time. Your household has changed. We need to talk about it. There's nothing wrong with that. If they get offended, then they're probably not the clients for you. Most people don't, though. Or they're just like, yeah, I understand you can't provide. I'll find someone else. No big deal. OP says, thank you for the advice. After reading this, I'm thinking I'm going to plan out a script and either send a message or speak to them in person about a rate change and outline the duties. If they aren't happy with that, then I can finally take on other clients that are on my new rate. I really appreciate it. And this commenter says, my son and daughter-in-law's cleaners told them they would stop cleaning if things weren't more tidy when they came to clean. Son and daughter-in-law's defense, they live in a small condo with toddlers. They made a big effort to be tidier and kept the cleaners. Your job is cleaning, not organizing their home or even moving their stuff. Yes, if they leave shit on the floor or the table, you gotta move it and you put it back because it's in your way. But no reason for you to get into their walk-in closet or storage rooms at all. If you do their laundry, tell them to put whatever they want washed into baskets, and other clothes are not your business. That's fair. OP says, thank you for this. Honestly, I'm still figuring out what's a part of the job versus what's not. If I'm in doubt, I will always just do it rather than not do it and risk looking lazy or sloppy. I think I'm going to try to create cleaner outlines of what my duties are, and hopefully this helps. This is why I always send people a quote too, so that I can refer back to the quote, because as a cleaner, you're in these houses, like sometimes it's deja vu and you're just like going along and you're like, man, this house, they asked for this and this. Like, I try to keep it very the same every house, but it's different. Houses can be different and you do some different things at different houses. So I'll send the quote and then I'll refer back to the quote and I'm like, whoa. This is what we're doing. but we actually added all this stuff on. If you want this stuff added on, it's going to be an extra cost, or I'm just going back to this original quote moving forward. Because it's hard when you're a cleaner and you're going and you see things that are dirty, you just go and you just try to clean it. But then that's when the whole scope of the job can get blown out of proportion, because you need to remind yourself what the actual job is for that particular client. My own story that's related to this, I don't really have one that's specifically like this where they're just accumulating things. What I can think of is whenever we do the initial clean, a lot of people will pick up their stuff and put it away. But then slowly as we go on, the clutter corner that wasn't cluttered is now cluttered, and we just don't clean that. It's usually literally one corner of a cupboard or countertop, so it's no big deal. If it was more stuff, then I would have a conversation with them. Every once in a while, when the seasons change from like winter to fall to summer, sometimes the boot rooms or the entryways can like go through their phases, and like every once in a while we'll pull things out, clean it all, put it back. But if it doesn't look like how it looked when we first cleaned it, we're not always going to be pulling that shit out and cleaning underneath it, unless like that's a conversation for it's going to cost more if you want us to pull this shit out, clean it, and put it back, or just clean it up. That's the only thing I can think of. Most people keep their houses how they are whenever we've done the walkthrough. And most people, if are storing something in a section that didn't have storage when we did the walkthrough, they don't expect us to move it and clean it every time. They just store it there until they deal with it, and then they put it away, and then once it's gone, we'll start cleaning there again. But yes, if I was this lady, I would probably drop that client as well. Our housekeeping, and it's kind of a crazy one. I do have my own story to put in here after. But yeah, let's give it a listen. It's a good one to hear if you're working as a solo cleaner by yourself. And this was 16 days ago. Trust in your gut, a weird encounter, and a safety check-in. I'm curious to hear how you ladies handle safety when it comes to solo residential jobs. I had a really unsettling encounter a few days ago that I can't stop thinking about. I was cleaning the exterior doors of a commercial building when a man in a luxury SUV pulled up and asked me to clean his home. He claimed his wife was sick and he needed extra help. What made it weird was that he had two young women in the back seat who he said would be assisting me, but they looked incredibly uneasy and didn't even smile. When I told him I only do commercial work, he got pushy and irritated before finally speeding off. It felt so predatory. Why would someone try to hire a total stranger off the side of the road instead of just Googling a local company? My husband is worried it could have been a local trafficking lure. Have any of you felt unsafe working alone for male strangers? What safety measures do you have in place to protect yourself in this industry? That's really scary. I'm sorry that this happened to this person. I'll read some of the comments first. I don't advertise my services anywhere. Not on my car, on Facebook, business cards, nothing. I started by working with another lady, then branched out on my own, and a few of those clients wanted to get me. I work on referrals only because it's safe to have a mutual connection with someone to start with. I've worked commercial by myself, but under a company, and luckily have never had anything like this happen. If you're advertising on your car, consider removing that. It's an invitation for creeps. Really hope those ladies are okay. The other person says, oh my God, I have to start carrying mace. This is beyond scary. I would go to the police while details are fresh in your memory, especially the vehicle and description of man. Hopefully the police will be on alert for both and do something. OP says, great idea. I thought about reporting it, but wasn't absolutely sure, and I fear the police would write that off as he was just inquiring about my services. I have no actual proof of anything. Otherwise, But it did get me to thinking about how vulnerable so many women are, and how do you know? Yeah, that's creepy as fuck. Another person says, I carry a knife and a tooth and 2-foot solid steel rods. Used rod once. Guy approached me. I told him I'd beat him senseless. He walked away. I carry wasp spray and cleaning kit in my car. Sprays up to 15 feet away. Yeah, it's scary. There are some times I've had like questionable people contact me, and I've just not answered them back. Like I always tell my partner where I'm going when I do a walkthrough. Like the address and everything, like he knows, so that in case I don't come back. I'm always like, it should take about this amount of time. If you don't hear from me, come get me. So someone always knows where I am. That's why I always send 2 people out to a job, especially at the start. If it's been a year that we've been working with the people, one person can start the job alone, and that's totally fine. So yeah, the other day, this is crazy that this happened because I was just thinking this. I was doing a commercial clean on a Sunday evening, and I had told the client that I would clean the grooves, the metal transition plate where the doors open and close. And there's like 2 huge doors on the front. By the time I got to that spot, it was pitch black outside, like dark. And I thought for a second, I was like, yeah, I need to clean those. And I was like, nope, I'm not opening those doors. Those doors are staying locked. It's dark outside. I'm by myself. I don't care if those get cleaned or not. I'll do them a different day if I do them at all. There's no way I was going to clean those doors in the pitch black by myself. And this shit is why. And we live in the mountains too, so there could be animals out there, even if it's not humans. Our rule is to always lock the door behind us when we come into a house. Always be cognizant of your egress and different ways you can exit the house as well. Carrying bear spray on us is a good idea. I always check on my staff if we're in a deep clean and I haven't heard noise from where they are in a while. I'm gonna call out to them every time, even just like for health and safety. They'll hear me call their name, and they'll be like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Nothing, just checking." It can be scary when you're by yourself, and especially when you first start out and you like someone's messaging you on Facebook and they give you an address to drive out to, and you have to trust them. It is a weird feeling because it's stupid because you don't want to come off as making them feel uncomfortable that you don't trust them, but it's fucking true. You don't know them and you need to keep that safety. A couple times I've even had my partner come with me to the walkthrough and just stay in the car. But yeah, that was like, this is weird and that story's freaky. And if you go on Reddit and look up this story, you'll find a lot of different other people's comments and their stories in the comments. And they're just like crazy stories. I'm not going to read them on here. On that note, stay safe out there, cleaners. Make sure you have somebody who knows where you are when you're cleaning, especially when you're going to the walkthroughs for the first time. Always be aware of your surroundings. Keep that situational awareness. It's easy to get stuck in the clean and you have your iPod on or you have your earbuds in and you're working and listening to your podcast. If you have any other suggestions, put them in the comments below. But it's important to stay safe, and your safety comes first, even before your profit. So yeah, that's it for today, friends. I hope you enjoyed this podcast as much as I do. Thanks for watching it with us and seeing us change and grow and watching my progress as I interview people and learn how to communicate better with the camera and with you guys. Watch, maybe eventually I'll have like a bigger studio. Who knows what's going to happen. If you enjoyed this podcast, please share it with your friends. Do all the things like comment, subscribe. Let us know what you want to see on the podcast as well. I would love to have listener stories eventually. So if you have them, send them in. I'll see if I can put links to my email in the description, along with links to our other social medias. Yeah, thanks again, and remember to be fucking kind out there.